Welcome to another edition of the Nerds Delight podcast. We host JayRow.
And CrumpCasso.
Welcome. We got a special guest in the building today. Welcome back, Marcus.
Thank you, gentlemen. Always a privilege to be here.
Thanks, Marcus.
Yeah, man. This is going to be a somber note episode. Well, I don't want to say a somber note episode. This is more of a awareness episode. Plus, it comes from some very sad news. It comes from the sad news that we lost today an icon, a guy who we all grew up on, Jason David Frank. For those of you who don't know him, he played Tommy Oliver on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Green Ranger, the White Ranger. And he passed away at the age of 49. And this comes from sources from TMZ, comicbook.com. And it comes from, I'm going to read a quote. It comes from following a number of murmurs and reports on social media. Frank's representative, Justine Hunt, confirmed his passing to TMZ. Sources with direct knowledge of the situation, they cite suicide as the cause of the actor's unfortunate death.
Oh.
So I asked Marcus to be on this episode because Marcus is a licensed clinical social worker. And I feel like it was a great way to talk about mental health, as well as because with situations like this, it needs to be addressed. And I'm gonna give you the floor, Marcus, and thank you again for joining us today. And I mean, the floor is yours, and you know.
I mean, you kind of, I think, started us out on definitely the right note as always. Jason David Frank, and we lost not just a Power Ranger, but an icon. I remember early in the morning watching this guy, for the Power Rangers. I'll never forget. I never knew what anguish was until I saw him inside the Megazord. But what stress was in my life until that happened. And, when he came in and kicked everybody out, I mean, my God, he just changed everything in my little head. And he wasn't even, we knew that Rita had corrupted him and all that stuff, but my God, when that happened, that was scary. I was 7 years old, maybe 6 at the time.
Yeah.
He scared the crap out of me.
It was a tense moment.
It was an iconic moment, man.
Yeah.
Like you don't see people just go and say, "Hey, I'm going to take the fight to him and jump into the Megazord and do it."
When he jumped up in that scene, he's like, "See, yeah!" He jumps up. I was like, "My God, that just happened!"
All the way up to the thing, all the way up there, and then he was like, "Surprise!"
Start throwing hands.
Oh man,
he had little 7-year-old me stressed beyond belief. And so when we reflect on these things, right, when we reflect on the earlier stages of our lives where he was impactful, even then, the Blue Ranger was always my favorite Ranger. I have no idea why. He was just really smart, and always Billy was my favorite guy just because of that. He was just smart. I always admired. I like the Gold Ranger, but I couldn't really get with him for some reason. I just couldn't bring myself to connect with that character. But the Blue Ranger was definitely the guy for me. So, it is what it is. But anyway, so, wow. One of the things I thought was interesting is that some of the comments I've read online about this, and I don't really do social media. I don't do that stuff. That's not really my thing. I protect my own mental health, but not being on social media. But when I learned of his passing, I was up one thing, and then I went down a rabbit hole, and then I just happened to come across that, and I said, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
I got to tell JayRow." Because if there's anybody that knows with impact, it would be him. And I'd be remiss not to share this with him. So I sent you the link, and I gave you a call shortly thereafter because I was like, you know what, I better not text him. I better just call him. And yeah, I knew how to make you feel, Drew.
Dude called me, man. Like, he just called me, and like at first I was kind of just waking up, and he was like, how you doing? He asked me how I'm doing. No, yeah, he always asks me how I'm doing, but this was a weird how you doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's going on? He was like, did you look at the test? I was like, what test? He's like, the group test. And I was like, let me look at this group test. And then when I saw the article, I was like, nah, this ain't real, man. This ain't real. Cause it was like when Kobe died. So when Kobe died, I didn't believe it. Because it was just weird and it was far-fetched. And it was like, nah. This didn't happen. This didn't happen. But then more and more stuff started circling in, and then more and more confirmations and all that stuff. And then it hit home. And I was in a state of shock. So like shocked, like the fact that this is a part of my childhood. This is a childhood hero of mine.
Yeah.
And we just did it. Me and you just did an episode, Jordan, about another person that just passed away with Batman. The Kevin.
Right. Yeah.
Kevin Conroy. Like he was another person that was very instrumental to my childhood.
Right.
So it's like I just feel like I'm losing people left and right that really like made me the nerd that I am today.
Yeah.
It made me the person that like I look in the mirror, like a piece of myself is like fading away, breaking away. And it's like, it's scary. And it's like, wow, like life is just this weird revolving door of loss and people leaving. And and I've never met these guys. It's not about that. It wasn't about that. It's like they cemented themselves a part of my life because of the art that they brought into my life.
Yeah.
And it was the art that was everlasting, art that was very impactful to me. And it hurts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that speaks to the longevity of certain characters too. And why some guys, just to touch on the previous episode we did, that's why certain characters, when we lose them, that loss impacts us greater than others. Because we ever got to know the character. Chadwick Boseman he never knew I existed, but his impact was felt by me and the city of Atlanta, because we all resonated with him and what he did and how he brought to the big screen things, jokes, things like that, memes even, that were previously just not seen by the larger public. But one of the things I thought was interesting is that, when you mentioned you passed suicide, I thought, most people are going to say there are no signs. Most say that, we didn't see this coming. We never thought this would happen. And truth be told, that may very well be the case. But what kills me is when people suffer in silence because it's not necessary. Suicide is the saying goes, is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I'm a big fan of finding the sunshine every day. Sometimes it's hard because it's cloudy. Sometimes it's really hard. And you might need somebody else to help you find it. But the sunshine is there. Is it a bad day? Or is it a bad 5 minutes? Is it one bad thing going on? Or is it just your whole life has just been crappy? Your whole life, it's the day you came out the womb, it's been bad. Is it really like that? Or is it just you kind of stuck in the prison of your own mind and must help you get out of that? Because sometimes we all hit funks. We all hit a funk, and our friends, our family, our special people to help us come out of that hole that we're in. And it's not necessarily that we've put ourselves in a hole. Life happens. It does. It's how we respond to that makes a difference. And sometimes you just gotta have the right people around you to help you respond to that. And I think when you're isolated, as we've all been during this pandemic to some extent, it's that much easier to get in that funk. It's that much easier to say, I don't have anybody in my corner. It's that much easier to say, oh, well, I could call them, but they don't want to hear from me right now. They got their own stuff to deal with. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear about my problems.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a travesty that more people don't reach out, both for professional help and for, just for that connection with others. Because the opposite of isolation is, in fact, the opposite of addiction, opposite of isolation is connection. I've known JayRow, well, I've known this guy for so long. I feel like I'm aging us when I say this. I've known this guy for at least 20 years. And, I will always give him a call randomly to check up on him. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is, or what time of day. If I'm off work, I'm going to give him a call. Just how he's doing. Because that's what you're supposed to do when you have people in your life that you've known for that long.
Yeah.
I don't have social media. If you know me, you got my number.
Yeah.
If you can't reach me by my phone, if you can't reach me by either calling me or text me, then we don't really have a relationship. So I don't lose social media. That's not authentic. I don't know those people.
Right. That's true.
I don't know them. A bunch of random thumbs up that I'll for people. Do for me. But one of the things I want to touch on is I worked at a few places. I worked at this place called GCAL, which is the Georgia Crisis and Access Line. So, because the crisis doesn't have a schedule.
Yeah.
It might be 2:00 in the morning or 2:00 in the afternoon. You get a Dear John letter, all bets are off.
Wow.
You find out that, you got a house note, a wife, and a girlfriend, and they're all a month late. It's gonna be a rough day. It's gonna be a rough day.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, so I've dealt with more than a few of those calls. I also, it was bad. I also work for the Veterans and Military Crisis Line, also known as the VCL, and I've talked a lot of people out of bad choices. I've been privileged to sit with people in the depths of their depression, especially during the pandemic. And I say privileged because although it's a very stressful job, I know that I'm helping somebody else see the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm helping them wake up the next morning. Maybe not just for themselves, but for their family, for their dogs, sometimes even their plants. Because if you're gone, who's going to water those plants? And I know for us it might be trivial, but that for some people that's meaningful. Otherwise, they wouldn't have plants. And so for me, it's about helping someone else find that sunshine in that day or in that moment. Definitely get to the next one. Like I said, it's not an easy job. I'm by no means complaining about it because again, it's a privilege to sit with people during those tough moments. One of the things I would love to just put out there, if you are watching this and you're having thoughts of suicide, or you're feeling moments of you have bouts of depression, you can't figure out which way is up or down. You can call or text 988. You can call or text 988. If you are a veteran, active duty service member, or the spouse of a veteran or active duty service member, you can also send a text message to 838-255. You can also call 1-800-273-8255. You'll press 1 when you're prompted. You'll press 1. If you're not a veteran or active duty service member, you can call that number, but it's not really for you. There are a number of local crisis lines that you can be routed to if you call that number without pressing 1. So please call 988. 988. It's almost as easy as 911. You can also send a text message to that number too. Whatever you're going through, you don't have to go through it alone. And if you're looking for, adult fun, there are a number of other appropriate lines out there that you can call. Because I hate it when somebody would be looking for a woman to talk to and they reach my voice. And it's like, I didn't really reach you. You're not a woman. What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, sir, you've reached the Veterans Military Crisis Line. I want to talk to a woman. Well, obviously that's not me. Never has. Well, I want to talk to a woman. I like women. Okay, so if you're looking for entertainment, there are other lines you can call. This is the appropriate one. This is the federal line here. Well, I want to talk to a nice woman. Yeah, this ain't for you, buddy. One. Yeah, that happened a lot. I've been hung up on a lot.
That's crazy.
Oh God, it's disgusting. It happens so much.
That's crazy.
I believe it.
No, it's so bad. Saturday night, 2:00 in the morning. Well, it's like Friday night, 2:00 in the morning, so it's Saturday really. Had nobody else to talk to. But and I don't want to spend any time on them, shaming them or whatever, as nasty as they are. The brother, Jason David Frank, again, I'm truly sorry for his family, his loved ones, people that knew him. I imagine some of them might be feeling guilt right now, feeling a lot of guilt about, what could they have done, what could they have said.
Yeah.
The fact is, you can't do anything about that now. Right? You can't change anything now. You can't refire those rounds. You just can't.
Yeah.
I would just say that please do something for yourself. Do something kind for somebody else. Process that grief with some help. Don't just do it by yourself. Don't think you can find solace in the bottom of a bottle, because you're not. You're not going to find it at the end of some pipe either. It's not going to happen like that. There's no moving car that's going to help you process this grief any faster either. Get help. Talk to somebody. Please, for yourselves and for your loved ones. If you're watching this, please just talk to somebody. You're not alone. We've all been impacted by this man's loss and what he meant to all of us. And I told JayRow, please, give me a call anytime he wants. So I'm here for him. But don't try to get through this thing by yourself. You don't have to. Too many resources out there.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcus, for sharing that. And we'll have it we'll have it in the description, like the number that you can call if you need it or whatnot. Again, we were impacted by this. I mean, big or small, you're going to be impacted by this, because it's just something that we as people just deal with. And I think deal with is the wrong kind of word to say, but it's more like it's something that every day someone is struggling through it. And it's so crazy. I was telling both Marcus and Crump this offline, sorry. I was saying that I actually spoke to him. It wasn't like a call or anything like that. It was like through Instagram, and he would respond to the fans. He would respond because I commented on something he did, and he responded back to me and stuff like that. He was always so gracious to the fans. Like, he always gave us like his time, and that was something that a lot of people don't do. But he gave fans his time, and I think that he loved his fans genuinely, because I think regardless of everything that was going on, that was like a place that he could he knew that his fans would be there, and his fans would always treat him with the respect he deserves. And I think, to me, it's very sad, because of the fact that you don't know what people are going through. You just don't. And you can have this outward layer of joy and happiness and just feeling like nothing's bothering you, and then in the inside you're broken and you're feeling all these different kinds of things, and you don't have anywhere you can turn or a positive outlet to let it out, so that you can function. And I think it's sad that it got to that point for him, that happened. And it's sad. I don't have words. I don't have magical word or magical phrase to like make light of it, because I just don't, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't want to like find some colorful, creative way to gloss over that. It's because it's not. You're not supposed to. Not for this. Because this is serious, and I think it's very hard. It's a hard thing to talk about, and it's going to be a hard thing to accept. I think it's good that we're brave enough to initiate this, and I think that it just takes more of us to get the conversation going.
Yeah. Get the conversation going and just raise awareness.
Yeah.
The more knowledgeable people are about the situation, I think the better we'll all be. So I really appreciate Marcus coming in and helping us. Kind of similar to you, JayRow. I got the text message this morning saying like, "Oh, yo, did you hear the Green Ranger died?" And I was like, kind of disbelieved because one, I knew he wasn't that old. Based off the age he was when we were watching it, when the show premiered and everything, I'm thinking, okay, he has to be like early 40s or mid late 40s or something around that range. Not to mention I've been seeing him a lot lately. I don't follow him on social media, but I follow other accounts like Comic Con and it's just stuff like that where they people post a lot of stuff. So I've been seeing him a lot lately doing these conventions and stuff like that. So I've known he's doing well physically anyway. And I know he's been back on the show several times doing other seasons and stuff. So I'm just like, okay, I know he's doing well physically. I did know that he had issues in the past. I think like with substance abuse or like just like depression and stuff like that. But I thought that was over. I thought that was done. Like in the past, like I said, I've been seeing him do stuff at conventions and like I said, he's been back on the TV show and stuff like that. So I thought he was over all that, stuff that he had, I get demons that he's battling in the past. But to your point, Drew, like you said earlier, we never know what someone's going through. So it's really kind of caught me off guard. And again, I just want to say thank you to Marcus again for just coming on here and talking, because I was going to ask him, what I guess would be a first step for people who are out there who may be listening or watching. What was like a first step? But I feel like he answered that already correctly. Just talking to somebody, but that means calling one of the numbers or a friend or just someone who can lend an ear. I feel like it's probably like the first step to kind of getting over these issues or demons that you may be battling. You don't have to do it alone. So I think, like you said, JayRow, I think just raising awareness and speaking about this topic, I think is definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that too, Jordan.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's pretty big, Jordan. I appreciate that. Definitely. I think that one of the things I've noticed that a lot of people say is, how do I open up to a stranger? And what I always say is, because there's some people who say, well, I don't trust strangers, so I'm not going to talk to you.
Right.
That's fine. You don't have to trust me. As you mentioned, I'm a stranger.
Right.
You don't have to trust me. Trust the process. Okay? Trust the process of you connecting with someone else and them helping you get to where you need to be. Because you don't have to know me. I'm just another voice in your ear. And I'll also remind you that prior to talking to me, your best ideas led you here. Your best thinking is what got you to this point in the first place. Maybe your worst thinking, I'm not sure. But either way, here you are. And here I am. So let me help you get to the next point in a safe and respectful way. Because I assure you, if you're a licensed mental health professional, we're not looking to denigrate anybody. That's against our code of ethics. That's against our personal values for the most part. Nobody's looking to do that. And ethically, that's just a nightmare for any of us. So we're not looking to cause harm. If anything, eradicate that kind of stuff. We don't want to cause harm. Absolutely. But I think that definitely, if you don't trust people, fine. You don't have to trust the process, right? Just know there's somebody out there that cares about you, that wants to see you in a better place, a healthier version of yourself. And so reach out for that. Reach out for your kids. Reach out for your family that may not know how to help you. Reach out because maybe it's against your faith to have thoughts of suicide. Maybe you're struggling with that. The fact is, some people have thoughts of suicide every day. I talk to them. Some people have those thoughts every day. They'll never pick up a weapon. They'll never take pills. They'll never formulate a plan. they'll just have those thoughts. That in itself is not the end of the world, but those people are also connected to mental health resources too, to assist them, to keep those thoughts where they are, just as thoughts and nothing else. Some people have had a multitude of attempts, and they're working on that. Substance abuse is always a tricky one because when you're in just mood or mind altering substances, you're not thinking with a rational mind anymore. You're not in full control of your facilities, so it's difficult to even have that conversation. Honestly, if you come into a session and you've been drinking, I can't even treat you. There's nothing I can do for you other than tell you sober up. Then maybe we can reschedule for another day.
Yeah.
Or I take mental health pretty seriously. I think that a lot of people look at professional athletes and they'll say, or actors, big stars, and they'll say, "Oh, well, you're getting paid tens of millions of dollars. You should just be happy. You should be grateful for that." What's your excuse? Okay, money helps. It helps, but it all be all to life.
Right.
It's just another tool. It's a nice tool to help, but still just another tool.
Yeah, it doesn't heal a broken heart.
No, I know it can't. It really can't. And I think that's something for people to keep in mind. You never know what a person's going through. That's why I was joking with my wife, and we were talking about road rage incidents, and she was saying, I'll get out and I'll tell somebody something. I said, no, you won't. No, I'm at home when you get a chance. I don't look like arguing with somebody. Is it crazy enough to get out of their car and come confront me, not knowing what I have going on in my car? They're crazy. I don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
I don't want to confront them. I want to go about my business.
Right.
So look, you never know what the next person is going through. Yeah. If you see someone struggling, reach out to them. If you got somebody in your mind, reach out to them. You never know what kind of sunshine you might be able to help them find in that particular day or in that moment.
True.
Yeah. No, you're right. And it's sad that Jason had to lose his life for conversations like this to continue to ignite and start. It's just, I hate the fact that we lose people and we have to, it's like, oh snap, this person's gone. So now we got to do better and we got to start instead of just doing better. And I don't want to sit here and blame people because that's not the intent. The intent is not to blame. It's just, I feel like we just do a lot of like bad habits that create these kind of unfortunate resolutions. And I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, how in the Black community, it's frowned upon to have therapy.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it's not, you're not strong enough to, you're supposed to be strong enough to not, you don't need it. And,
and I think you're on to something. It's interesting. I was talking to a colleague of mine. She's licensed, and one of the things that she said was with some of the Black male clients that she has a hard time getting them to buy into the idea of talking to a therapist. And so I told her, I said, listen, if you're a Black man, for the most part, people are telling you to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's hard for you. You figure it out. If you have a problem in life, you take care of it. That's your job. You're a man. You fix it. Nobody's going to wipe your butt for you. But I often ask myself, is this an expectation that we've put on ourselves, or is it an image that's been painted for us? It's a mask we've been given to wear. And so we have to put on this mask of masculinity. This mask of I've got it together. This mask of I'm good. I'm straight. I don't need you. I don't need your help. I'm okay. I can take care of myself. Well, really, we're struggling on the inside. Some of us are. Some of us are dying to just crying out loud for help, and nobody's picking up the phone.
Yeah.
And so we don't know how to connect to other people. We don't know how to talk to people. We don't know how to embrace that vulnerability that will allow us to connect with somebody else in a meaningful and in a rich way to help us get to the next point where we need to be.
Yeah.
And so there's a greater conversation to be had about masculinity and what it looks like, how we define it, who defines it, right? Because it's not just us. If it was up to men to define masculinity, that'd be one thing, but it's not just us.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's not just a black and white thing. For sure, black men certainly have, I think, heightened concerns around masculinity because everybody has an opinion on what the black man's masculinity needs to look like. But I was joking with somebody. I said the only thing scarier than the black man is, or the only thing scarier than a group of black guys is a bigger group of black guys. Like that's the only thing scary to some people. Like, 2 or 3 of them, that's pretty intimidating. You got like 4 or 5 of them. Oh my. But it's one of those things that that's not their fault. Not it's the individual's fault for thinking that. But I'm saying it's not that group's fault for that person's thinking.
Right.
It's really I think a person's imagination is a scary place for anybody to exist. And I think it would be prudent for people to, when you find yourselves going down rabbit holes, you find yourselves going down a dark path, where you find that days and like hours and days have gone by and you haven't taken a bath, you haven't checked in with anybody, nobody's checking in with you, you might want to consider reaching out to somebody else because people care about you when they give them a chance to know that you're struggling. If you don't reach out to anybody for help, how's anybody going to know?
True.
Again, you can make $40 million a year or whatever, and on the outside life just looks sweet. Yeah. But dig beneath the surface a little bit, it's 40 million doesn't begin to cover some of the problems that person's going through. Yeah. So reach out, please, people, reach out for help. 988. There's also you can text that number, you can call that number. If you are a veteran or active duty service member or the family, close family, immediate family of a veteran or active duty service member, you can also text or call that number. You can also call 1-800-273-8255. Remember to press 1 at the prompt. You can also text 838-255 if you're a veteran or active duty service member or a family member, like immediate family member of a veteran or active duty service member. Just please reach out for help. You're not in this thing by yourself. We all go through ups and downs. It's important that we connect to other people to help us get through those ups and downs and help us find the sunshine every day, or at least in a particular moment.
I'm glad you said that because I think a lot of people do think they're by themselves, and I think that it's nice to know that you're not alone, and I think that it needs to be echoed that you're not alone. You have people that can support you. I think a support system is super important. I think it's super needed because of the fact that we tend to just gloss over that. We gloss over the fact of needing people. We are humans. We need people in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're right. And something else I noticed at the start of the pandemic, there was this sickening obsession with the hustle culture. People were bragging about working a nauseating number of hours. And Drew, I told you I was working 2 jobs there.
I remember,
the crisis line. One of them was a crisis line. I was doing at least 20 hours a week at that job. And I also worked in substance abuse too. So I was at a substance abuse facility, residential. So my clients lived there on the facility. That was hard too. And I remember thinking, where I'm at now is not where I'm going to end up. It's just where I'm at right now.
Right.
I'm just getting this experience, helping the people I can until the next chapter starts. And that's what I did. I had a plan. I reached out to people. I knew that my goals were going to take me to a different place. Mm-hmm. But even now, with the work that I do, I still remember my the earlier stages. And at every point in this mental health field that I've been in, it's a privilege for me to continue doing this work. It's a privilege because people don't have to open up. People don't have to talk to me. People don't have to trust me with their problems. But I'm glad they do. And I thank them for it.
Yeah, and we thank you as well for being up here and being the driving force of having this conversation.
Yeah.
And I know it was much needed for me, because I know just hearing you talk about it and listening to Crump talk about it as well, it kind of really hits the message home about,
Yeah.
you know, having support, as well as not feeling like you're a weirdo by, you know, having those thoughts, because it's a natural thing to feel. I just think that it's also a natural thing to need to have people around you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the lost part of it all. And I know that we live in a society right now where it is very hard to find good people to be around.
It's true.
But, you know, I just think that with, you know, I hope this can be the start of something for someone. And I just, again, thank you again, Marcus, for driving this episode. And
Yeah.
thank you again for just like the words of like the not words of knowledge, as well as the words of, you know, guidance for someone who could potentially reach out and need that assistance.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I hope this reaches somebody in a place where they're receptive to it, and they'll, you know, reach out to those resources we mentioned. Call or text 988. Please do it. You can do it any time of day or night. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is, or a weekday, weekend, what have you. Just pick up the phone. If you're a millennial, I know you're on your phone anyway. It's probably lose. Just
Yeah.
please reach out to somebody. You know, drinking is not going to help you. Jose Cuervo doesn't care about you. Jim B, give a damn who you are. Johnny Walker, you're just another person to him.
Yeah.
So please, Jack Daniels, he doesn't care about you. Please reach out. You can't smoke your way to health. Okay, you just can't do that.
Again, thank you everybody for listening. Appreciate, you know, the people who support the channel, as well as the people who are just coming in new. And we hope this video hits, and we hope that it helps. So, you know, thank you again for tuning in. Talk to you soon. Peace.